Welcome to All About the Sisters Wellness podcast, where we help you reclaim your overall health and wellness. Get informed, take action, and be better at being well. I'm Melanie Painter, founder of All About the Sisters and your host. Nobody could have guessed that after a kick-ass start to 2020, a mere 2 months later, we would all be ushered inside because of a worldwide pandemic. It is now July and we're still here. One person I know for sure who did not foresee this was the founder of a social movement whose mission is smashing the stereotype that Black people don't swim. They aim to teach 2020 Black people and people of color how to swim. Before I heard of BPWS, I had no idea there was such a stereotype. In 2014, the CDC found that an 11-year-old Black child is 10 times more likely to drown than a white child the same age. The New York Times reported in 2018 there was racism in America's pools, and it wasn't new. I believe that every child should have the right to swim, and every Black person should learn how to swim. For this reason, I wanted to talk to Paulana about this, because she is pursuing something that is so niche and rare in a state like New York. I can't believe she's the only one. Our guest today is Paulana Lamonier, a multimedia journalist and on-air personality who loves telling compelling stories. She has written for Fast Company, Shondaland, LearnVest, Blavity, Her Agenda, and more, where her mission is amplifying stories that traditional media won't tell. She loves Jesus, Beyonce, and chocolate in that order. When she's not putting her pen to work or interviewing your favorite celebrities, she's teaching people how to swim. Her new venture, Black People Can Swim, is a social platform with a mission to encourage 2020 Black people to learn to swim this year. When we sat down for this recording, Black People Will Swim was a semi-finalist for the Essence and Pine Sol Build Your Legacy contest. Welcome, Paulana. So I remember meeting you about, maybe 2 or 3 years ago at the Benchmark creative group with Erica Ash. And that event, I have to say, was a real turning point for me because there was so much talent in the room that night. And I was very grateful at that point in my life to meet her. So, it really inspired me. And then I started following you on Twitter, and you used to share all of these leads for jobs in media. And I remember saying, I like Paulana. She's like cool people because she's really like down for the Black community. And then look at where we are now and look at what you're doing, which is why we're here today and what we're going to talk about. So let's dive. Start with telling us a little bit about yourself. Who is Paulana?
Paulana is an outgoing, charismatic person, Haitian American journalist who just loves telling compelling stories. I love talking to people. In elementary school, my orchestra teacher called me a gossip monger because I talked too much in class. And really, it wasn't I was talking too much. I just love music. So I was talking about Britney Spears and Usher and the cute boys in music class at the playground, So that's where it started. And my love for just talking to people, I realized that, I can really make this a career. And and I'm a plus size girl who loves working out, who loves having a good time.
Right.
And I'm pretty optimistic. So if you tell me no, I'm the type of person I'm going to find another way around that.
Well, that's good. I'm happy to hear that you're embracing everything that's quirky about you, because it's really not until Issa brought up, being awkward, that everybody realized that awkward was a thing. I wish I had realized it a decade before her, because I always say I could make awkwardness a thing. I'm awkward as fuck. You're a swimmer as well?
I am.
You are a swimmer. How did you get into swimming? Like, why did you think that you needed to learn to swim?
So growing up, I live in the suburbs, probably like an hour outside of Manhattan. And my mom put us in swimming classes when we were younger. So that's why I first learned how to swim. And then as I grew up, I gained a lot of weight in high school. So I relearned how to swim back in college, and I joined my college swim team. And from there, I I went to York College, and that's where I learned. That's where I met my coaches, and I joined this team called Newfoundland Swim Team, where I was kind of like, I was basically their assistant coach, basically helping the little ones learn how to swim. And then from there, I just started coaching with them, then went to the YMCA, started becoming a swim instructor. And then now here I am, more than 10 years later. I have this initiative, which is crazy to me that, like, yo, I really did this, called Black People Will Swim, because I love my Black community. I love Black people. And if it's not me empowering us, or if it's not you or I empowering us, who else is going to do it? Who else is going to do the work?
Exactly. So you created Black People Will Swim. And I have to admit, when I first saw it, I was like, why do we need this initiative? Everybody swims. And that is just in my ignorance. So what specifically did you see going on that made you take a second look and want to create this initiative?
Yeah, so last summer I started like a challenge. I was like, you know what? I'm gonna teach 30 people how to swim. And I put it on Twitter. And from there, I got a lot of retweets, a lot of likes, a lot of inquiries about, hey, I want to swim. And I was like, wait, hold up. I live in Long Island, so I won't be able to get to everyone. But then from those inquiries, filtering down just based off of location, a lot of people were still interested. So I didn't reach my goal. I ended up reaching about like 26 people. And because it became so much for me, because I'm also working at the time I was working a full-time job as a social media strategist. So it became a lot. So my sister, who's also an instructor, I gave her people as well. So we're both like tag teaming and trying to, hit our 30 person mark.
Mm-hmm.
And from there, I had a client, and she was like, she was really, really, really scared of the water. I mean, like, it, it really it takes a lot of patience to teach someone who has experienced past trauma in their life.
Mm-hmm.
So it took a lot of patience, which that's not an issue for me. But one of the things she said, she was like, did you know that, she was like, oh, I can't float. And I'm just like, why? She was like, well, didn't you know that Black people bones are too dense? That's why we can't float. And I'm just like, girl, what? Like, where did you hear that from? Who told you this? It's like a kid who says something crazy to their mom. It's like, no, you're going to bring me to that person that told you that. And that's how I felt, because, you hear about these stereotypes all the time. Oh, Black people don't swim because they don't want to get their hair wet. Black people don't swim because their bones are too dense. Black people don't swim because of X, Y, and Z, when really that's not the case at all. And so from there, I did my research and realized that, this is not just a Black people thing. This is a racial thing.
Right.
This is something that has been started during slavery, that as a result of slavery and as a result of keeping Black people from certain acts, from certain access and from certain activities, that they created the Jim Crow laws, which, it's like separate but equal. Right. So of course there were pools in Black neighborhoods and there were pools in white neighborhoods, but guess what? It's like imagine one pool in a Black neighborhood compared to 3 pools in a white neighborhood.
And I've seen that in many neighborhoods. I've seen it in New Jersey. I've seen it out in the in some of the burbs, depending on where it is. And I'm glad you brought up the racial discussion, because that's my next question. So with regards to racial disparity and what we are fighting for right now, why are diversity and representation important in swimming, you think?
Well, it's just, think about it. Like, how did you feel when you saw Beyonce or Serena Williams killing it in the sport, or Oprah? It's like, when you see the possibilities, you know that, oh my gosh, if they can do it, I can do it. And that's what it comes down to. There's this quote, it goes, I forgot the name of the quote. It's not seeing is believing. I know this quote, and I'm gonna email it to you, because I know this quote and I say it all the time, but it's not coming to mind. But in short, representation, it means, and it does a lot to someone. If they see someone who looks like them, they know the possibilities of what can be done.
I know when I was in college, there were a lot of people who came from the Caribbean on scholarships for sports. And one of the weird things was that some of my best friends were on tennis scholarships. And I used to play tennis. in high school, and I was like, I didn't even know that we could get a scholarship to go to school in America, you know, playing tennis. Are you serious? There were people swimming and doing all kinds of things, but I never knew that. The education wasn't enveloping all of that fact. So tell me about uh, Black People Will Swim and what you're seeking to do now that it's become a real entity and a real initiative.
So our goals for Black People Will Swim really is just cut and dry. We want to teach 2020 people how to swim. The reason why I chose that number is because, well, we're in 2020, we're 2020. And I'm also like I told you earlier, I'm someone where you can't tell me no. Like, if you tell me no, that's fine. I'm gonna sit with it, but I'm gonna find another way to make it happen. Yeah. I mean, as for God and I, you know, that's a different story, you know, because that's God. You know, I don't go there. Um, but in short, you know, I wanted to choose a goal because just to see where I would go with that.
Right.
And I kind of pulled from the book of Diddy. You know, he was like, I'm gonna run the New York Marathon, and he was training in like three months, trained for the marathon. And I don't think he completed it, but the fact that he did it in 3 months time, that's pretty commendable, especially for what he already had on his plate. So in short, our goal is to teach 2020 people, and not just that, but we really want to encourage people to understand the stories behind these stereotypes, how they came about, and most importantly, how to take care of your hair when it comes to swimming. I think that's one of the biggest obstacles that Black people and Black women face, is how to take care of our hair when it comes to chlorine. So we're partnering up with different brands where they are not only providing products, but they'll be providing hairstylists and hair influencers to teach how to do your hair, because it's one thing to learn from YouTube. It's cool and all, but it's different when you have someone who sees your hair, who understands it, and say, okay, you may think your hair looks like this person on YouTube, but that's not the case. Here is what products may actually work for you, especially when it comes to the water. So those are the two main reasons. And of course, representation. We want to think about the ripple effect. So if one person knows how to swim, if a mom knows how to swim, their kids are going to learn how to swim, and their kids, and that's the effect that we want to have.
Okay. So we're in the midst of a pandemic right now, and we've been here since about the middle of March. You started this initiative when, January?
I started this initiative last summer.
Last summer. Okay.
Last summer.
So because we're all quarantined and inside, is the brand on hold? Like, what's happening right now?
Great question. I mean, right now we are finding ways to get money. You know, I started Black People Will Swim out of my own pockets. I was paying my creative director out of pocket, my video editor, you know, I was paying out of pocket. But now that I'm technically not working, right now we just want to work smarter and not harder. So how can we get to the bag? You know, white entrepreneurs, they get a lot of funding, but Black women, we only get less than 0.0001% of funding. So that's our goal right now, is to get funding in the interest.
Okay. So I'm an African-American parent, let's just say. What can I do right now to encourage my kids to learn to swim?
Take them to swim class. That's really it. Also, I think it's really important for them to see why it's important. So talking to them about, you know, some well-known Black swimmers, Simone Manuel, Cullen Jones. There are so many Black swimmers out there, so many Black athletes out there that we should really show them defeating and killing it in underrepresented sports. Alia Atkinson, she's from Jamaica. So she is also a well-known swimmer that is killing the game. So simply just showing them like, hey, you know, these boys and girls, they look just like you. And then just taking them to swimming too, taking them to swim class.
So in the midst of the talks about change and policies, and I know like social services is a real need right now. Do you think this should be part of the conversation, fighting the stigmas around not just swimming, but just sports in general? Do you think that's part of the equation? Do you see it as helping the kids in any particular way?
Absolutely. Absolutely. That was actually another point, that we have to educate our children on these stereotypes. If somebody comes to you and say, "Oh, I didn't know black people could float," like, yes, we do. Yes, we could float, we swim, we run, we do ballet. And that's the thing. A lot of, I think, especially during those times, a lot of, the atmosphere that was happening during that time, a lot of racists were saying, "Hey, you guys can't swim," telling us, feeding us these lies, telling us that we can't do certain things. And meanwhile, we could do it just as good, if not better, than
Right.
some of these people.
So we peeped that Black People Will Swim was partnering up with Adidas. Share a little bit about it. I'm a huge fan of Adidas. So when I saw you, I was like, oh my gosh. So share a little bit about how this happened.
Yeah, so just to correct you real quick, this is actually not a partnership.
Oh.
We are actually a grant recipient from Adidas
Oh.
and I Fund Women. Yeah, so we really made sure, a lot of people interpreted it as that, but we made sure, if you read it, we really said that we are grant recipients. So I Fund Women and Adidas they are the partners.
Okay.
They're the partners. So they partner up, and they created a program called Reimagine Sports, where they are helping women entrepreneurs level the playing field when it comes to sports. So really just elevating women athletes in the sports, or whatever sports they're in. And so with that, we filled out the application and we were chosen as one of the grant recipients. So what does that mean, right? So it's like, okay, it's not a partnership, it's a grant recipient. We get it. What does that mean? So that means that Adidas not only gives us a grant, so this is where their partnership comes into play, Adidas and I Fund Women. Adidas gives us the grant to help us fund our business, and I Fund Women, they provide the platform for us to raise more money for the business.
Okay.
So pretty much, essentially, these two brands are setting us up for success as women entrepreneurs in sports.
Girl, I love it. I'm gonna call this a partnership with Adidas. This is a win. Like you said, it's a win for all of us. I'm just happy over here. So yeah, Adidas, hats off to you. You've been my brand from day one. I don't.
Yes, don't get me wrong. Listen, we're going to speak a partnership into existence for myself, for Black People Will Swim. That is definitely like a goal of mine, because I had tweeted back in April that I wanted to partner with an athletic brand. That's something that I've always wanted to do for the longest, because I'm an athlete. I may not have to post it on Instagram, but I truly embody what an athlete is. That's someone who's hardworking, their mindset, they love to work out, and I'm high key competitive too. So that's probably why I want, well, of course, that's more to why we won, but like, I'm super competitive. So I give the best 100% in everything that I do. So.
Well, that's good. We want to know that we have someone who's behind these brands that are really, really going to go hard for everybody.
Mm-hmm.
So what's next for Black People Will Swim?
So right now we are in the running. We are semifinalists for the Essence and Pine Sol Build Your Legacy contest, where we can possibly win 100 grand. So
Ooh.
listen, it's all about getting the money. There is money out there. Yes, we are on the cusp of a recession, but don't let anyone tell you different. There is money out there. Okay. So you gotta look high and low for it, but there's money out there. So in short, we are in the running. We're one of 3 semifinalists for the Essence Pine Sol competition. And really, the way that people can support us, if you love the brand, if you love the mission, what we're trying to do, you vote for us. The person with the most votes, they win the 100 grand. And honey,
Wow.
if we win 100 grand,
Wow. Wow.
yeah. And really, that speaks to the work ethic of myself and my team, because within the 6 months that we've been established as a company, to get 2 big names like Essence, Adidas, and 3 names, Essence, Adidas, and I Fund Women, it really speaks to the necessity of Black People Will Swim. It really speaks to the uniqueness of this program. It really speaks to the importance and why this is so important, because sometimes if you don't know, you don't know, right? If you don't know the drowning statistics, I can't blame you for that. But someone who does know about it, I have to take it upon myself to educate people. 70% of Black kids don't know how to swim compared to 42% of Hispanic and 40% of white people.
Right.
That's crazy, and that's unfair. But people don't realize that it's not our fault that we don't know. It's systematic racism that is literally the underbed and the foundation of America.
But I think it's also, with the opportunities abounding right now, I think it's also the timing. You know, uh, a revolution going on, and it's not like past revolutions, but I think this one is very different in the sense that we are really showing up as behind the eight ball on everything. We're behind the eight ball on healthcare, education. We're behind the eight ball on being able to vote, freely and fairly. We're behind the eight ball in sports and all of this stuff. And I'm like, well, as a collective race, we have a sort of a consciousness and awareness that's going on right now, and we need to really fill the holes and make sure that not just our voices are heard, but we make the necessary changes. And I think initiatives like this, even though they may seem or deemed not as important as other things, these are the social aspects that are going to come in and back up all of those changes in laws and policies and all of that stuff. And I think you're in the right timing for the switch that's about to happen. And so I just want to congratulate you on taking the initiative going forward and really like staying true to your people, staying true to what you know, and providing something that's a way out for many, many kids. You know, when this is a summer camp happening, you know, once we're able to open back, and partnering with different swim meets around the world, and you know, just getting kids excited about something. So instead of focusing now on being in the NBA and the NFL, they could probably focus on being the next great swimmer. And we need more representation. You're right. I know one Black swimmer from Trinidad. I think is Siobhan Cropper. She's been the only one that I've known for years, and she's been to the Olympics. And we keep, you know, that name keeps coming up over the years, but I've only known one. Maybe there are others, but we're not tapped in. So thanks for bringing about this awareness for us. Tell people where they can find you, find Black People Will Swim.
Sure. You can find myself at It's Paulana, ITSPAULANA, and you can find Black People Will Swim at blackpeoplewillswim.com.
As easy as that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, Paulana, thank you so much. I'm going to let everybody know, please go support Paulana and Black People Will Swim, and we'll be rooting for you.
Thank you so much, Melanie.
I'm Melanie Painter, and I thank you for listening. For more about All About the Sisters, please go to www.allaboutthesisters.com or check us out wherever you listen to your podcasts. Want to know more about our guests? Check the description of this episode down below.